I go to work like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like the way.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to LidLine Sports with my co-host, Renald Pepe Bean and Otis Little O Stevenson. All the fellas in the house tonight. Got a lot of sports to talk about. I hope y'all had a happy new year and a good weekend, a long weekend. The college football playoffs went down over the weekend. And just as I said, what happened to Notre Dame?
They got ramshacked.
Ramshacked. I told you they get blown the hell out. They shouldn't even been in the game. But then what'd you say?
They had no business in the Final Four.
Who should have been in this spot, Pep?
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember offhand.
Well, people say Texas A&M.
Yeah, that was my choice.
They wouldn't have fared any
I
better.
think I heard Cincinnati as well, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That would have been okay.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati had a tough time with Tulsa in their conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
But you never know, though. You never know because and I think it's an argument for the 8-game playoff.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
Definitely.
you need at least, especially like for Alabama, and Alabama wins it so much, don't they need to just have to have some kind of run to it? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Give all the major conference champions a berth in it. So that's 5, and then pick 3 at-large teams, and then let them go at it. Somebody might get upset along the way if you have 8 teams, wouldn't you think? Instead of just one game to get in it.
A lot of these and a lot of those smaller teams were. Go ahead, Pep.
I was just saying that's what makes it entertaining too, because look, it's nice to have a playoff where you see the best teams, but every now and then it's always good to see somebody that you didn't expect to win to actually win.
Yeah, you give the true underdog a chance, right? But
Absolutely.
they might come in and have that extraordinary game, which makes it more exciting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, and I think we talked about last week about this being the year for them to have tried it, but I think next year they really need to seriously look into it. Alabama crushed Notre Dame 31-14, and man, I want you to know that I am just really, really excited about this kid from Alabama, their receiver Devontae Smith.
Man, he's
that guy exciting.
Should win the Heisman.
Should win the Heisman, though?
I think so. I know he usually goes to quarterback. Who?
I think so, too.
Mm.
Pep, you got a thought?
I like him. I love him, actually. Yeah, I'm with you guys.
He's unstoppable. I mean, did you guys have a chance to watch the game?
Yeah, I
watched
saw most of it.
Did you see his first catch for a touchdown?
I didn't see it first.
Did you expect him to score, Pep? It looked like a routine pass over the middle.
Right.
Oh, yes, I did. The slant route.
He had 7 catches for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Notre Dame not so fighting Irish. There he goes right there down the sidelines. Touchdown. That kid is special. Every once in a while, some special dudes come along. That dude, Devontae Smith, for the University of Alabama, Crimson Tide, is a special player.
Hey, could that be something the New York Jets would look at? Because he's a dynamic player, and you know what? We don't know if Sam Darnold actually is not the guy. He could be the guy, but he just doesn't have any weapon.
Well, here's my
weapon like that.
Here's my thought on the Sam Darnold situation. I didn't like Sam Darnold coming out of USC. I'll be the first to tell you that. However, It does take take some dudes longer to come around. Sam Darnold's problem is the same now as it has been at USC, in that he has a difficult time reading coverages, and he has a tendency to fall in love with his arm, and that's my way of saying where he thinks he can fit balls where he can't fit balls. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't give up on him. I would try to give him some weapons, because doesn't everybody look a whole lot better with weapons and an offensive line?
Yeah, and you know, a lot of times some of these quarterbacks actually have somebody to help them. Like we know that Matt Stafford, let's say, for Detroit's a good quarterback, but he's actually had a few weapons to actually help him. And Sam Darnold has not had that. He hasn't. He had Robbie Anderson, but they didn't use him right.
Yeah. So we'll see. And then in the second semifinal game, I was about to call them my Ohio State Buckeyes, but I'm not going to claim them as my team. However, they have been my squad since Justin Fields joined the squad. And you guys know I've been talking about Justin Fields all season. He's been my dude since I watched him on Netflix QB1. So if you guys are interested out there listening to us on LidLine Sports, you can go back and watch season 2 of QB1 on Netflix and see Justin Fields in college. They follow his senior year on QB1. It's very, very interesting and entertaining. And you'll see the type of kid that he is, the type of parents that he has, and you know that he's just come from good stock, and you know he's capable of doing good things. I mean, he left from Georgia, originally went to the University of Georgia, which I thought was a bad decision to begin with, because they had a QB already there and doing well, and so he ended up.
Jake Fromm?
Jake Fromm. Yeah. Jake Fromm there, who took Jake Eason's job and sent him to the University of Washington. And Jake Fromm was also on QB1 their first season. And so I first saw him there too. And so I thought it was a mistake for him going to Georgia, but I guess it was the whole play at home in front of the family and friends deal. And then he realized that, hey, I'm not going to get any tick behind him. Let me go to Ohio State. And so now he's at Ohio State and in the national championship game. And his numbers against Clemson. Pep, how smart was it for Dabo Swinney to open his mouth?
Man, not very. Man.
He opened up his mouth and gave Ohio State bulletin board material.
Yeah, but he said that he had a 10th or 11th or whatever.
11th.
Yeah. Ask him what he's got, where they got him now.
Well, they're definitely ahead of Clemson. And so they gave Clemson a beatdown of royal proportions. I mean, it was a really a beatdown by the score of what was the score of that game? I gotta find it. Wow. It was double figures.
Yeah, I forget.
49-28.
49-28. Yeah. 49-28. So
this is a Clemson defense who only allows 17 points a game. So that just shows you how good Justin Fields it really is.
Yeah.
He was on fire.
Yeah.
He was 22 of 28 for 385 yards and 6 touchdowns.
And Ohio State's got a nice wide receiver in Olave as well.
Olave is really nice.
Yes.
He is really nice. And, I mean, they've got a lot of good receivers coming out this year. And yep. I would imagine that Chris Olave he might be the second receiver taken after the Alabama receiver.
Yeah, I concur with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, Fields had a difficult time in the Big Ten championship game because I think Olave was out, hurt, or whatever.
Yep. So I think COVID.
Yeah. Oh, it was COVID protocol. Okay. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you see how much he means to Clemson. He also had 6 receptions for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. So their numbers almost mirror each other. So
absolutely.
who you all got? Michael Carter wants to know. OSU.
Well,
Clemson.
it's hard. It's hard to go against Alabama, But then again, I said the same thing about when they were playing Clemson. I was like, well, so I'm going to go with Alabama. But listen, it will not be a surprise any longer if Ohio State, beats Alabama. I don't think they're going to beat them like they beat up Clemson, but it will not be a mistake. A surprise if it's 24-21 Ohio State, something like that.
Lilo?
I'm with you, Pep. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm kind of feel different on the score. I feel like if Ohio State can make this a shootout, Alabama, they were a good defense and they turned it on in the second half. They weren't, usually the Alabama defense that we've seen, and we've seen them give up points. So if Ohio State can turn this into a shootout, I do think they have a chance. But I mean, Alabama's been the most dominant team all season, and it's kind of hard to bet against them. So I'm gonna choose Alabama.
Okay, I am going to not choose what you all chose. I'm going to stick with my dude and not change horses in the middle of the stream.
Okay.
Go with the Ohio State Buckeyes and Justin Fields, because I feel like Alabama has won too many championships, and I'm tired of Nick Saban.
Hey, bro, I can't blame you, though.
Hey, they did make the college playoffs last year, so
yeah. So I'm going to go with Ohio State with this caveat, understanding that the weak link in Alabama's team is their secondary.
Yeah.
And so if Ohio State can take advantage of their secondary, then they have a great chance of staying in the game and winning the game. And I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a really good game. So looking forward to talking about that next Monday, 5 p.m. on a bunch of ESPN channels.
And both teams have good running backs too.
Yep.
Yes. Sermon left Oklahoma and went to Ohio State and has found a home. He made a good decision in that transfer. And we saw the athleticism from what's the kid's name? 22 for Alabama.
Najee Harris.
What?
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. Yeah, he's nice too. I was like, every time you see him play, he rips one.
Yep.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see. I see our producer has up some Oklahoma highlights, and another kid from Netflix QB1, Spencer Rattler, did his thing with Oklahoma. And so shout out to Spencer Rattler. I want to leave him off. I think he's on season 3 of QB1. Such a great show to watch. Pep knows. I don't know if you know. I played QB at a high level. I played QB at a high level.
Yep.
With the Franklin Quakers. So
Quakers.
I follow QBs. Speaking of Oklahoma, Texas fired their coach because he could not beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Tom Herman was fired even though he was 4-0 in bowl games.
Yeah, they want championships. They want Big 12 championships. I was surprised when I heard the undefeated record in bowl games. And I think it was Joey Galloway who was talking and saying it's hard in college when you're only giving coaches 3 to 4 years to bring in their guys, build a program up. And that's basically what Texas has been doing. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Steve Sarkisian can do with Texas coming in.
Thoughts, Pep?
Well, Texas is a program that's not satisfied being a top 15. They feel that they should be in the top 4 or 5, whatever it is. So, and right now they're not there. So they figure they'll make a change now. And get us there.
I mean, it makes no sense to me. The guy was 32-18. They haven't won jack since Mac Brown, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's won 4 bowl games. He's finally brought in his recruits, and you fire him?
Yeah.
For Steve Sarkisian?
I agree. I'm with you.
Worse record than he does?
I don't see any logic in it either.
How do you fire a dude that has and hire a dude that has a worse record than you do? Than the dude you fired?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't. If Steve Sarkisian gets them to a Big 12 title, I'll shake his hand virtually. But I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Anyway, Lil Low, what's happening in the NBA?
Steph Curry is happening, and this is something. Yeah, Chef Curry. That's exactly what he looked like yesterday. And it kind of made a lot of news, even though this is something that we've seen from him, but it's been a while. And on top of that, the Warriors haven't been that great of a team these last 2 years. They got off to a pretty rough start, and ever since that blowout to Portland, it seemed like that was Steph got the most butt of the jokes after that, and a lot of news about the Warriors and Steph not being able to carry these guys and all that. And I mean, Steph said it after he dropped 62. He said he heard all that. And Steph dropped 62 against the Portland Blazers. This whole back-to-back thing, playing the team back-to-back, I get it schedule-wise, but it's something I'm still trying to have grow on me. But Steph took advantage of it by the most. And like I said, that man it looked exactly like vintage 15-16 Steph Curry. It was a career high for him, surprisingly. I thought he'd had more than that. I don't know why. But the man was on fire. And, they're playing Sacramento tonight, and they're off to a solid start so far, 10-4. So it's going to be, like I said, I think these guys should be able to may not compete for a championship, but they should be a team that you don't want to play if they make the playoffs, because they have somebody on their team by the name of Steph Curry who can get going at any given moment. And you've seen how much it helps when now Draymond Green is on the floor. He's able to now come off a lot of action off the ball. And he's, like I said, Draymond's another playmaker who can get Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins shots too, because they both played well yesterday. So they're going to need all those guys to be able to compete in and night out. It can't be just Steph Curry. Because like I said, I think Steph Curry is what he's best at is off the ball. He's not a James Harden-esque on-the-ball scorer like some of these other guys. So I thought Draymond was really big. He didn't score yesterday, but just the impact of him is exactly what they need.
Hey, I think that he needs to have the ball.
Okay.
Explain. With this particular squad.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is the best player on the team. And without the scoring from Klay Thompson, where does it come from consistently?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to put the ball in Steph Curry's hands. We talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure out why they just had him running to the corner and spotting up like he was a spot-up shooter.
Yeah.
And letting other dudes run the pick and roll. No. If I'm an opposing coach, I am excited that Steph Curry is off the ball and that he's running to the corner waiting for somebody to give him the ball rather than have the ball in his hands. I mean, if you look at these highlights, man, look what he's doing with the ball, right? And so he's that much more dangerous. He's a very efficient passer as well and a willing passer. So, until they get more firepower on offense, he has to have the ball in his hands. He has to be able to create. You can't depend on people creating for him. Like who?
Yeah, and it's a give and take. I definitely hear what you're saying. He should be able to these guys should look a little better around him with the ball in his hands, just like Draymond does as well. So I definitely see your side. I think they're so used, and Steve Kerr is so used in the actions that they use when Draymond and Klay are out there, and that they still use that. Like I said, a lot of action, I think, against the Blazers game. He was off the ball. And I think a lot of action that you saw, too, was in transition with the high pick and roll and him making decisions. And that was very hard to guard as well. So that's another thing. They need to make shots. They need to also play better defense so they can get the ball and get in transition where we know Steph Curry is lethal at, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, so I think right now they're 2-3 or 3-3. I'm not for sure.
Pep, your feed is.
Yeah, I have to agree with G on the Steph.
Right now, the Golden State Warriors.
Can you hear me?
Now they're 3-3 tonight.
3-3. You're a little muffled, Pep. Go ahead.
Pep?
No, I was going to say I agree with G on the aspect of Steph Curry at this time, that he needs to have the ball in his hands. And I like what you said about the back-to-backs. It was interesting because I was thinking about that earlier today. These back-to-backs are unique because they're back-to-backs on the same court. So it's like you play Friday on the Warriors court, and then you play again Sunday on the Warriors court. And it's so funny because they're two different ball games, because Milwaukee and Miami did the same thing last week. And in the first game, Milwaukee beat Miami by 47 points and lost the very next night to Miami, which was crazy to me. It's just 24 hours later, you make up all 47 points and you win by double figures the next night. That's crazy. And basically, the Warriors did the same thing. They lost by 25 points Friday, and they win by 15 on Sunday. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have. It's definitely just gonna be a wacky and I wouldn't say tough, but it's gonna be a weird year. And G, you wanted to talk about some of these teams that have been not playing well to start out with. I think the Golden State Warriors, or not the Golden State Warriors, but the Brooklyn Nets. I was one of the people who made a little bit of a hoopla how they started out. And then ever since, I feel like I've been tuning in to watching them play, they can't guard anybody. And so I don't know. What you got to say about that, G?
Pep, you got some thoughts first? No? Okay. My thoughts are...
I couldn't hear what you said.
If you had thoughts. If you had thoughts on
the Nets so far.
Brooklyn Nets.
Oh yeah, they're 3-4, and Kyrie and KD are both playing, so there's no excuse now. Well, of course, now KD's gonna be out, but man, I don't know. Spencer, we know that Spencer Dinwiddie's hurt, but the rest of the guys are still there. Karis LeVert, all of a sudden, he's not playing well. He only had 6 points the other night. So they need to get it together.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like I said, I always say this, that you can't really evaluate anybody till after the All-Star break in the NBA. And you see who's been able to weather the storm injury-wise, and you see how teams have gelled together and how they've embraced whatever philosophy of their coaching staff. And so, but the Brooklyn Nets do have a problem because we talked about this, and I talked about giving Magic Johnson credit for the structure of the Los Angeles Lakers that won the 2020 NBA championship, and he built it around defense and toughness. Everybody in the NBA can shoot. Even dudes that you don't think can shoot. All right? And so the main thing is, are you going to be able to guard people every night? And you alluded to that problem with the Golden State Warriors. Are you going to be able to guard people every night? Durant and KD, as good as they are offensively, have never been known for their defense. Neither does Brooklyn have any player on their roster who you could say is a defensive stopper or a rim protector.
They got a rim protector. They do. Ooh. Jared Allen. He comes out the bench.
How many? He doesn't intimidate anybody. I just saw him get dunked on a few times over the weekend.
Oh man, every shot block is gonna get dunked on.
Yeah.
What about DeAndre?
He don't scare nobody.
Oh, there it goes.
He don't scare nobody. And so, for those of y'all listening on the podcast and radio, you see Jared Allen getting the alley-oop dunked on him. So, anyway, I just think that you just have to wait and see. And I just laugh when I hear people, including you, thank you for admitting that you were one of them, that they talk glowingly about people and teams early on. You got to wait.
Yeah. A little biased. Definitely was a little biased.
I mean, look at Toronto is 1-5.
Man, yeah. Milwaukee is, I think now they're 500. So they won tonight. Miami is only won, I think, now 2 games. Yeah.
They were 3-3.
They were?
To the night.
They just beat Miami OKC tonight.
Okay, so they're 4-3.
And then Denver's not playing well to start out the season.
Nope, they're 2-4.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of those teams that, and like I said, I'm not surprised by none of this, and I don't. It's not anything I think you should worry about. I think the one of those teams that it is a little kind of, I want to say a little warning because I've watched and played now a couple times is the Toronto Raptors, and I'm only saying that morely because today they were up by 20 against the Boston Celtics, who had no point guard, and they lost that lead and lost today. And on top of that, Pascal Siakam, who we saw not play well in the bubble, has still not shown up. He's still playing bad. It's like he's still trying to find his niche as being the guy. Yeah. And you cannot rely on Kyle Lowry, who is 35 years old, night in and night out. Yeah. So, and then he got kicked out, or he got 6 fouls and fouled out and walked out the arena off the floor 2 games ago. So he's just frustrated. So it's only game 4 or 5, dude. Why are you getting so frustrated early?
I don't know, but I do know this little Kyle Lowry's gonna tell you his name is Kyle Lowry, not Kyle Lowry.
I watch too much Bad Boys, my bad.
That's Mike Lowry. Bad Boys too. It's Mike Lowry and Kyle Lowry on the mama side.
Lowry.
All right, we got to go to break. When we come back, you got more NBA. When we come back, Lowell?
Yeah, just a little more.
Okay, we're gonna take a break. You're listening to LidLine Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio World on YouTube and Facebook and whatever platform you can get a podcast. You can listen to LidLine Sports. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we got more NBA and NFL football playoffs to talk about.
Can't wait.
Well.
If you're an older adult or someone of any age with underlying medical conditions, you're at a higher risk for severe illness from COVID-19. Look, the good news is there are steps you can take to protect yourself and loved ones. Wash your hands often. Stay home unless you need food, medicine, or medical care. If you need to go out, stay at least 6 feet away. Avoid people who are sick and make a plan. Identify and talk with someone who can help care for you if you get sick. Have supplies like medicine and groceries on hand, or find ways to have them brought to you. And remember, wear a cloth face covering when around others. For more information, call Seattle King County Public Health at 206-477-3977. That's 206-477-3977.
This is your Rainier Avenue Radio World community update on the new City of Seattle Community Resource Hub, a one-stop online shop for city resources and information. Supported by the Seattle Department of Neighborhoods, the Community Resource Hub can be found at seattle.gov/resource hub. It's an online portal of city resources, information, and tools to help community members connect and engage with city government and with each other. That is seattle.gov/resource hub.
Welcome to the Fitness Corner. I'm your host, Mark Bryant, and you're going to get a whole total body workout on my show, starting off with a warm-up, aerobics, strength training, cool down, and stretching every Friday from 11:30 to 12 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.
This is the news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Because NCAA eligibility was essentially paused in 2020, The Huskies' leading rusher, Sean McGrew, is allowed to return for a sixth season next fall. According to the Seattle Times, in just 4 games last season, the 5'7", 175-pound running back led the Huskies in rushing yards per carry, and rushing touchdowns.
Thing under.
The former St. John Bosco standout has compiled 154 rushing yards, 5.2 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns so far in his UW career. Which isn't to say McGrew is guaranteed anything. After all, the Huskies should have 5 other scholarship running backs next season. Redshirt sophomore Richard Newton, redshirt freshman Cameron Davis, true freshman Javion Sunday, and Sam Adams II, and incoming freshman Caleb Berry. A 6th fifth-year senior Kamari Pleasant has yet to announce whether he'll be back in 2021. But in the last 24 hours, UW coach Jimmy Lake learned that his leading receiver, leading pass rusher, and top offensive lineman will be back in Seattle next season.
And that's your news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Hey, welcome back to LidLine Sports. I'm Granville Emerson, along with Renault, Pepe Bean, and little Otis Stevenson. I'm actually interested in seeing how Sam Adams does at Ohio State. Local kid out of Eastside Catholic. Yeah, waiting for him to shine. Back to the NBA.
Yeah. So talking about the Brooklyn Nets and their woes, I just wanted to chime off and say, it's also Steve Nash being a first-time head coach. I would like to see how he makes minor adjustments with losing Spencer Dinwiddie and them not being the greatest of defensive team right now. So let's see how he makes adjustments as well. Also, just like Pep said,
well, he can't look to his assistant coach.
Neither of them been known for defense. Steve Nash couldn't guard a lick either. So it's gonna be interesting. Just like Pep mentioned, and Kevin Durant's gonna be without 4 games because he has a 7-day quarantine because he was in close contact with somebody who tested positive or who was around somebody with COVID. So that's another 4 games they'll be without them. And I mean, as much as Kevin Durant says he likes playing great basketball, I know there has to be sometimes he's looking at Kyrie shooting the ball like, dang, you really took that shot. But hey, that's how they're gonna play though. So some other NBA news: we lost the Hall of Fame head coach in Paul Westfall. He was battling brain cancer. I lost him on Saturday at the age of 70. If you guys remember, he was diagnosed with brain cancer in August of last year. And like I said, I know that he was one of those great coaches out of Phoenix when he had Chuck and those guys was battling to make to the finals. I don't know too much else besides his coaching tenure there. If you guys can shed some light on Paul Westfall.
Paul Westfall was a NBA champion with the Boston Celtics, and also went on to coach, like you said, Charles Barkley and that squad, Phoenix Sun squad, onto the NBA championship game, although they didn't win. If you follow basketball, everybody knows Charles Barkley doesn't have a ring. But he was a great player with the Suns. I don't know if many people knew that or remember that he won a championship with the Celtics, but he was an all-star with the Phoenix Suns. Pep?
Yeah, he won that championship with the Celtics in '74, and then the next year he was traded to Phoenix, I think for Charlie Scott, if I'm not mistaken. But Paul Westfall is in my top 10 all-time favorite player. I loved watching Paul Westfall with the Phoenix Suns. He could, and the thing about it is, he could do everything. He left hand, right hand, he can handle, and he will dunk on you. And it didn't matter if you was 6'5" or 6'10". He'll come down the court and rear back and slam it on you. He did that against the Sonics many times. He actually played for the Sonics for 1 year when he was traded in 1980 for Dennis Johnson. But he only played like 38 games or something like that because he was injured. And so he was dealt again in '81. So, my memory of Paul Westfall is very fond. And like I said, he was one of my all-time favorites.
Very nice, Pep.
Yeah, and before I get to my power rankings, Dubs are up 30-14, so hopefully they're starting to turn a little corner here. Power ranking is going into week 3. Like I said, Milwaukee, Miami, Brooklyn, Toronto, Dallas, Denver, not all playing their best basketball. So I got LA still at number 1 at 5-2. The Clippers, who have been playing pretty good basketball besides the 50-point shellacking by the Mavericks, are 5-2 as well. Philly has gotten off to a really good start and are 6-1 now after beating the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Joel Embiid looks good. Tobias Harris looks good. Ben Simmons is getting everybody involved. Seth Curry was a really good pickup so far. And then this is a power ranking, so it's a week by week rankings. I got my Suns in there at number 4, off to a really solid start, 5-2. Got down to the Clippers by 20, almost 30 last game, and fought back. Came a close game. So Chris Paul has been doing his job there, and it's not just Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Michael Bridges and et cetera, DeAndre Ayton are all playing well. And then the Utah Jazz, who kind of got out to a semi-slow start, have picked it up by going 4-0 last week. Donovan Mitchell has woken up a little bit. Rudy Gobert has proven that these contract extensions he keeps getting is worth it. They're playing good basketball, and they should show that they can make a run for the Western Conference Finals this year.
And what was the beef between Shaq and Gobert?
I don't know. I didn't hear that. What happened?
What'd you say, Pat?
I was going to ask about that too. Actually, there's 2 beefs that I was going to ask about. That one and the Booker and Paul George.
Well, I know the Booker and Paul George. It looked like there was Paul George had gotten to a foul. He got hard fouled by one of the Suns players, and Devin Booker came over. And what I do see after this shuffle or all the little scruffle happened, Devin Booker called him a soft A-word, N-word. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure Paul George has heard. He said that a lot of people have been chirping. So I'm pretty sure this won't be the last time he hears that. So, yeah, and Devin Booker got that little light skin persona, so it's funny to see him call him that too.
Oh, oh shots fired.
My bad, Pep.
That's okay. I can handle it.
But yeah, no, I didn't hear about the Shaq Gobert. What happened?
Shaq called him out on Instagram, and Gobert went back at him, and then Shaq started talking about his rings. You know how Shaq always goes to his rings.
Yep.
Like he's talking about the contract he signed and how he had 11 points and four rebounds in a game.
Yeah.
And it's Shaq, you gotta understand though, a lot of these bigs will never touch you. And it's like he holds a lot of them, which I understand, to a very high pedestal, especially in a game right now where there's not any dominant center besides Joel Embiid. So I think he just wants to see that center position really come back to life. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and the fact is the money, man. You're paying all that money, and Shaq feels that if they were doing the production I was doing, can you imagine the money I would have been making if I was playing?
Different.
Exactly.
I would be making more money.
Exactly.
I mean, it's different now. It's a lot more.
I mean, it's all moot now though, because he's done. We get it, Shaq. But it's over.
Exactly. He does. He did this with Dwight Howard. Is anybody who's a pretty good center in their time? It's like I don't know. They can't get their flowers from him.
Yeah. Somebody said that Shaq's the most sensitive superstar ever. That's my guy, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Some football, man. Playoff
football. What you got? Let's go back to the NFL.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to send a shout out to my man Michael Carter in Maui, taking care of his dad. His dad is listening as well. So shout out to Pops Carter.
My favorite island.
Buster Carter, my man. Just want to let you know, keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
So we got Black Monday in the NFL today. The LA Chargers dismissed head coach Anthony Lynn after 4 seasons.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. Give me some thoughts on that right there. Why?
Okay. Well, listen, I think it's ludicrous, to be honest. I don't think he deserved to be fired at all. Because he's had a winning record there. 2 years ago, he was 12-4, Okay, they beat the Ravens in the playoffs and they lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion, the Patriots. This season is an anomaly for just about everybody. Okay, he was 7-9, but you know
he
what?
had a 4-game winning streak to end the season.
Absolutely, and he took a quarterback that was not prepared to play, right?
Yep.
And he pretty much turned him into the rookie of the year, if not a future Pro Bowl contender.
Yep.
So, and plus, the LA Chargers were always without whatever weapon they needed. Like they were always Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, two of their best wide receivers seemed to always be out. Okay, their running back was out all the time.
Yeah.
You know, he did a magnificent job with them. And I don't understand what the hurry was to fire him when you got teams like Detroit and the Jets that seem to take their time with terrible coaches in dismissing them. It makes no sense whatsoever.
You know, I hear the national media talk about all the games that he lost in the last minute during the season. And I'm like, okay, so what? He turned it around. They won 4 straight to end the season. How are you still talking about what happened in the beginning and middle of the season after his starting quarterback had his lung punctured by the team doctor and couldn't start? And you had a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so now that he's turned the team around and won 4 straight, you're gonna fire him? That makes no sense to me.
None.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to state the obvious in this situation. Like I said, I just think there's been a lot of coaches who have done way worse, who's gotten multiple chances in these type of scenarios. And I'm even seeing that the Chargers are trying to talk to Jason Garrett. I mean, the man has way more talent than what Anthony Lynn had this year when he was with the Dallas Cowboys, and we've seen that happen. So I don't know. I'm just as confused as you guys.
Yeah.
All right, Pepe.
So, and also in Jacksonville, Doug Marrone got let go. And then, so it looks like Jacksonville, you know, he's not going to be able to coach Trevor Lawrence, the projected number 1 pick. Or will it be Justin Fields? I mean, who was the better quarterback on Saturday? Well, we're not going to go by that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Also, Eric Bieniemy, we all know, is probably the number 1 candidate for the Jets, Detroit, Atlanta. Will Jacksonville take a look at him?
So no offense to Andrew Schroeder.
Right.
I feel like Eric Bieniemy should be the number 1 candidate, but all the teams that they're trying to put him on are the Jets, the Falcons, and who else, Pep?
Lions.
They're all trash. How can he not be considered for the San Diego Chargers or the Houston Texans, where they have great quarterbacks? Right.
Well, you know, Atlanta's got a good quarterback, Matt Ryan, and Bieniemy, you know,
Matt's 36. He's had his worst 2 years since he's been a pro.
Yeah, but you know, Bieniemy's an offensive coach guy, and you know, and Matt Ryan. We all know Matt Ryan is talented. So you know, to me, if you're going to go somewhere, that would probably be the best fit. Now he would definitely need a strong.
Better than San Diego?
No, I'm not saying that. But he has been on LA staff before. And the way they treated Anthony Lynn, would Eric Bieniemy really want to go back there? Is what I'm thinking. I don't know.
I would want to go to San Diego. I think that's the best fit. San Diego, not
LA.
the purpose.
Well, the best. When I was saying the best fit, I was saying out of the fact that it was Detroit and the Jets was talked about, and I was saying Atlanta's the best fit out of those.
Wow. Okay. Well, I agree.
This was before the LA became available. When I made those statements earlier today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with
you. But yeah, you're right. The LA Chargers definitely would. And plus he's been there, so he'd be familiar with that. I just was wondering if he would want to go back there or not, but we'll see. And there's other teams looking for new head coaches as well. Of course, I mentioned Falcons, Lions, Detroit, Browns. Oh, wait a minute, not the Browns. Sorry, they're in the playoffs. I'm so used to them needing the coach that I just slipped them in there. Sorry about that, yo. Not the Browns, but the Chargers and the Jags as well. And in Denver, did you know that they made a change, not in head coach, but in the general manager, as John Elway has stepped away from those duties. He's going to remain president of the football operations side, but he's going to help Nick Fangio, who's the coach of the Broncos, in hiring a GM. And the first name that comes to my mind when thinking about a GM is Ozzie Newsome, because I've heard some rumblings that he wants to get back into running a team. Any thoughts on that?
I think Ozzie Newsome would be a great pickup if that's what he wants to do. I think that it's a playing on people's stupidity to try to act like they're giving John Elway some promotion, since he's basically ruined the Denver Broncos since he's been GM. And the only reason why they're keeping him around is because he's a Hall of Famer that's won Super Bowls as a player. And so, miss me with the smokescreen tactics about him being elevated to a new position. Nah, you needed somebody to be a real GM that knows how to draft quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So anyway, but the real thing now is the playoffs are here, guys. Saturday and Sunday are filled with triple headers on each day. And so Saturday's matchups at 1:05, these are all Eastern times, guys. 1:05 p.m. Eastern. The first game is Indianapolis at Buffalo. That's not that everybody's thinking, that Buffalo is going to be a cakewalk. They're the team to beat other than Kansas City in the AFC. But I would not sleep on Indianapolis. They got a great running back in Jonathan Taylor. And, of course, T.Y. Hilton is still there. And, look, I get that Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers. We understand he's a great regular season quarterback. He's done nothing really much in the playoffs. But, things happen. So we'll see. But, of course, I expect Buffalo to take care of business in that one. And, of course, at 4 o'clock Eastern, we got the L.A. Rams coming up to Seattle to face the Seahawks. I think that's a good matchup for the Seahawks because they just played the Rams. Rams are a little banged up, and the Seahawks defense is much better than it has been in earlier this season, as we all know. And personally, I expect the Seahawks to take care of business and win. Is it going to be easy? Well, is it ever easy with the Seahawks? No. So, that's going to be a tough game, but I think the Seahawks should win that one. And in that last game of the day on Saturday, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady and company playing the Washington football team. We all know the Washington football team is probably just happy to be there. It doesn't matter where they're going to play in Washington. They're going to be in Washington, but it don't matter where they play. I don't see them beating the Buccaneers. And on Sunday, first game at 1:05 would be Baltimore at Tennessee. This is another rematch. Tennessee beat Baltimore last year, if you guys remember, in a surprise because Baltimore had lost only one game in the regular season last year. And so Tennessee came in there and beat them. At 4:40 p.m. Eastern, you got Chicago at New Orleans, which is of interest to Seattle because if Seattle wins and then Chicago happens to beat New Orleans, then Chicago would have to come up to Seattle. So Seattle would then have 2 playoff games at home, which would be nice. But we'll see. New Orleans can be beat in the playoffs at home because we know that Minnesota has done it. So it's not like they're going to be invincible there. So that should be interesting to see. And then finally, the last game on Sunday, we've got Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Of course, everybody knows that's my team, Pittsburgh Steelers. They have no running game, but Cleveland and Pittsburgh are very familiar with each other. So I have no idea what's going to happen. I would like to think that Big Ben is going to step up and take care of business because he usually beats Cleveland when he plays them. I think he's only lost 1 or 2 times in his whole career against Cleveland. So I'm going to expect them to beat Cleveland this time around. You guys have any thoughts on the playoffs that I mentioned?
Oh, you got any thoughts?
First question, have we heard an update on Jared Goff yet?
Well, I know that I haven't heard any updates, but I do know that he broke his thumb. And regardless, if he does play, look, he ain't going to be 100%. And, you know, that thumb, and especially on your throwing hand, that's one of the worst injuries you could have. So, and then I haven't heard anything about Cooper Kupp either. So, you know, it's going to be iffy.
Cooper Kupp's going to play.
So I would think that John Wolford, since he did play pretty decent against the Cardinals, will get the start if Goff is, you know, just not healthy enough. I think they're going to go with Wolford.
Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting first round. I can't wait to see that Titans-Ravens matchup again.
Well, to me, there's two teams you don't want to see. You don't want to see the Baltimore Ravens right now, and you don't want to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now.
What about the Bills?
Well, the Bills are a division winner, okay? So and they've been playing well all year. So that's a given. But I'm talking about a team that has been, you know, up and down, and Tampa and Baltimore both have been up and down. They both finished 10-6 or 11-5. So and neither one of them are division winners. But right now, they're both red hot, and Baltimore, and especially Baltimore right now. I mean, of course, Tampa's got Tom Brady, so you know, you got to take that in effect. But Baltimore has been there. They know, and they were disappointed last year, and they've been to the AFC Championship and all that other stuff. So they've been there. They're seasoned. So this year they are a team to watch out for. So don't think the Ravens going to go into Tennessee and not be able to win, because they could. They definitely can.
Football to be watched over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 3 games. Before we go, I want to address this. Daniel, can you cue up that Doug Peterson clip? Doug Peterson, coach.
You're down 3 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. I don't think anyone thinks that you weren't trying to do something in terms of tanking the game. So my question to you then is, you know, why would you do that? Is this just for the draft picks, or is this something here?
Pretty simple. I wanted to get the plan this week was to get Nate some time, and I felt like it was the time to get him in the game.
That is disgusting. Now, I've listened to the national media today. There have been folks who have been outraged by what he did. I was outraged by what he did. And then those who are saying that it didn't make any difference and wasn't that big of a deal, they're not even telling the whole story. And then there are people who are trying to say, well, Jalen Hurts wasn't doing anything anyway. That's a lie. He scored their 2 touchdowns. The score was 17-14, and it was 4th down and 5, and Peterson didn't send the field goal team out to kick the field goal to tie it up 17-17. He had them go for it on 4th and 5, and they missed. And then Jalen Hurts never came back in the game. If you kick the field goal, it's 17-17, and you leave Hurts in the game, Philadelphia probably wins the game. So my problem is this man did what you should never do. You could have people talk about tanking, accuse you of tanking, but you can't blatantly tank. This is not the WWF. It's the NFL. You have to have integrity. People have money on the games.
Do you think this was a front office decision, or you think this was his decision?
Well, he said it was his decision, and I say if it's his decision, it's just in line with the history of his bad decisions. I think that he should be fined. I think that they should lose a draft pick because they are calling into question the integrity of the game by doing like that. NBC put them on Sunday Night Football because it was a matchup to determine who would go to the playoffs. The Washington football team and the Philadelphia Eagles are in the same division. Philadelphia could have put them out of the playoffs. But they didn't play the game to win.
Nope. And my question is this: what if it was flipped? What if Sudfeld was the guy, and then would he have put Jalen Hurts in, saying that I wanted to see, I wanted him to give him some time? I don't think that would have happened.
What did he need to see Sudfeld for? He's been on his roster for 3 years.
Exactly.
Right?
He's
not even going to be on the team next year.
Yeah, you already got 2 starting quarterbacks already.
Right? Yeah, you got a quarterback problem as it is.
Yeah.
Right? So why are you putting this dude in the game?
And at that time, too.
Yeah, I mean, that makes no sense. To me, it was disgusting. I mean, like, are you kidding me? Like, you're not even concerned about the integrity of the game or fans or people who passionately support your team, who want you to win. I give the San Francisco 49ers hella respect because they fought to the bitter end against the Seahawks yesterday with no reason to fight. They had no fight in the playoffs. All they had was respect. I'll give the New York Jets some respect because instead of tanking and going 0-16, they went out and fought and won 2 games. Yep. But Philadelphia does not have the integrity, the Philadelphia Eagles, the integrity to play to win the game.
Right.
Got Herm Edwards rolling over his grave.
Yep.
Man, I had to get that off my chest, man. I've been feeling that since last night. Like I just think head should roll. He should be fired. They should be fined. Draft pick should be taken because you can't do that. You can't blatantly tank. You can do stuff and have people question it. Are they tanking or not? Like we were wondering, were the Jets tanking? Weren't we all wondering that?
Yeah.
Right? You can wonder it, but you can't make it abundantly clear.
Yeah. So they have the 6th pick. I wonder what pick they would have had if they would have won.
The 9th pick. What difference does that make?
Yeah. I don't know.
And
they draft bad anyway. So what difference does it make? They'll miss on the 6th. They'll miss on the 9th.
Hello? Yeah, there's Herm.
Hello?
Hey, Herm.
You play to win the game.
Thank you, Daniel.
You don't play to just play.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to play to win the game. And I think that you never know what you're getting when you're drafted, right? You just don't know.
You don't.
And so I remember Pep us talking about who should be the first pick in the draft, and I said Buffalo's quarterback, Josh Allen, right? Where did he go? He went in the mid first round, right? But he's better than all them dudes that got drafted ahead of him. So what difference is it moving up and down 3 draft picks? Right? All right, our time's up. Thanks, Pep. Thanks, Lilo. Yep. Thank y'all for listening to LidLine Sports and watching on Facebook and YouTube. Catch us on all of our podcast platforms. On behalf of Renault Pepe Bean and Otis Lilo Smith, I'm Granville. LidLine Sports, that's sports as we see it. What'd I do?
Just below our lid.
They call me Otis Smith.
Otis Smith? Hey, to donate on Venmo.